when we ignore the poor and allow them to be hidden away, invisible to us. That's not the way of God. God welcomes everyone to the table of life, ensuring there's enough resources for everyone to have what they need. But in our world, it's so distorted and broken that some have far too much and some have nothing. And Jesus says this is wrong. It's not the way of God. It's not the way of love. And it's not the way of life for anyone. If you want to live deeply and truly, then ensure everyone has enough and no one has too much. And then you'll find a deeper sense of life and hope and peace and justice. Life as it's meant to be. Even in our society, the rich are honoured, and the wealthy and the powerful are honoured more and blessed. They're able to do things that the poor can't. And many people are pushed to the margins of life, shoved there, out of the way, because their embarrassment, they bring shame. When there's a big cultural or sporting event, an international one in a city, the first thing that happens is the streets are cleared of homeless people. The homes and the dilapidated buildings that house the poor are pulled down and nice, respectable buildings are put up in their place, and respectable people are brought into the cities. That's not how God views the world. You know, the telling thing of a mature city and mature leaders is how we deal with the marginalised and the poor and those who need a hand up. Not charity and handouts to appease our conscience, but a hand up, sharing in generosity and love, receiving what they need and entitled to. You know, even in Parramatta, there's a church that feeds the homeless and hungry. Not all of them are homeless. Some live in simple units. But life is costly, and they don't have enough money to pay their rent, their electricity, other bills, and have enough food. And so they go along to Meals Plus, maybe each day, where 150 or more people come, gather, and get the food they need to eat. But it's not just food, it's about company, it's about being welcomed. And Paul, who runs the place, knows everyone, knows them by name and knows their stories. And they're welcomed into this community which is equal, and where there's generous sharing of resources, of love, of food, of care. But you know, some of the people in Parramatta, some of the dignitaries and leaders, they don't like that. Because homeless people are walking around in the city. And what will visitors and respectable people think? What will those who are sitting in a nice restaurant think when they're looking out and a homeless person, scruffy and dirty, walks by? How will that upset their fine meal? How would Parramatta Square look if there were scruffy people who walked through it? And they would really like the church to close its operation down or move it out somewhere hidden and out of sight, so that we don't have to contend with the fact that we have homeless people, that our society maintains injustice and we don't care. And it's the same in Ashfield with Reverend Bill Cruz, who has run the Exodus Centre there for decades, feeding the poor and the homeless and the marginalised, inviting them into this wonderful community where they can eat together and share food, where there's computers and libraries, where there's recreation activities, where there's community gathers, where there's health resources, doctors and dentists and nurses, where there's counsellors and support, where there's programs for addiction, where there's a place to live and be cared for and to be known and to be loved, and to be told that God loves them. And yet, as Ashfield changes and becomes more respectable in parts, neighbours don't like what's happening there. They don't like the fact that homeless people or poor people and marginalised people are roaming their streets and gathering together in this great complex, bringing down the value, making things look shabby. And yet, when I go to Meals Plus or go to Exodus Centre, I sense the presence of God. God is in this place because this is a place of love, a place of community, a place of belonging, a place where anyone can come and belong, and a place of generous sharing. And I think that's what Jesus is trying to get us to understand, that in this world there's enough for everyone, but only if we share. Only if we share life and resources and give a hand up to those in need, to those who need a hand up. How about you? Will you follow in this way of Jesus?